What's up, boys and girls? Hello and welcome back to another video. Today what we're going to be doing is something that you all voted for on the community page poll I posted yesterday, and that is 25 unique tricks that most skaters won't even bother learning. So this is going to be a good one. A lot of these are going to be tricks that you either haven't seen before or don't see very commonly. If you're a keen viewer of mine, a few of them you may have seen in previous lists, but this is pretty much all new tricks. So with that being said, use the chapters below if you want to skip around. Other than that, let's get into trick number one. Alright, so the first trick is going to be the bubble shove. Now this video, I'm going to generally not dwell on each trick for too long, maybe like 30 to 45 seconds. So the bubble shove is something you may have seen in a video of mine before, but we're going to go through it real quick now just to get it out of the way and get to more of the newer tricks in this video. So, bubble shove. This is my front foot, so if I was riding normally, I'd be going that way. My back foot is here. Simply you pull the board back with this foot and then shoot it over like that. In one motion, it's like this. Right. And now we'll try it stationary, so just standing still, just like that. And then once you got that, add a tiny bit of speed, which actually helps with the momentum. And then you should end up with something like this. A bit sketchy, but the slow-mos will give you the gist of things. So the next trick is the Ollie body varial. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically a combination of the standard Ollie and switching your stance in midair. There's only one real good tip that I have for this one, and that is that instead of like trying to Ollie and instantly just going and spinning your body, what you have to do is you have to actually level out the Ollie first. So you don't just like pop and then switch your stance. You pop, push the front foot forward to get the board to level out, and then switch. You'll be able to see from the slow-mos what I'm actually doing. So level it out with the front foot, last second, switch them hips so you get the 180. Again, a little bit sketchy, but the slow-mos on screen right now are exactly how you bounce off that front foot. So the next one is the old school varial, a combination of like an old school flip and a shove it underneath you. With this one, it's something you're really gonna have to try, but it's one of my personal favorites and looks like this. One more to clean it up though. One of my personal favorites, this one, and you're gonna hear that a lot. The foot position is what counts the most. If I'm rolling forward, aka that way, my front foot is like this. My back foot is kind of hooking underneath the board. So like my heel is kind of on the board, my toes are kind of underneath the board, and you like just lift it like this using that foot. And it goes like that. So exactly how I had your feet. And then this foot goes underneath and flips the board in like a diagonal direction that way. Way easier to do while moving forward though, way easier. But yeah, that's one of my personal favorite flip tricks, and it always gets people on a letter in a game of skate, and a lot easier than you might think just by looking at it, so give it a try and see where you end up. So next we've got the hospital flip. But how do you do it, right? So a tip that I said to one of my friends who came down the skate park the other day, and this is what unlocked it for him, is half kick flip, pull the foot back towards you. So it's as simple as having your foot in the kickflip position, pop straight from the middle of the board, so the board comes up straight. Bear in mind, if you pop outside, board goes that way, you pop towards you, board will fly towards you. So always pop from the dead center for a trick that doesn't spin. And then what you're gonna do, flick the foot forward, the board does like a half flip like this, and then you're like here in the air, and then pull it back towards you, and that is the hospital flip. Next, we've got the 1 foot shove it. Again, good for a game of skate. Does count, by the way, so if anyone tries to tell you it doesn't, tell them to shut their whore mouth. And that would look like this. The foot position is what matters the most for this trick. So, board like this is our nose. Our front foot, you might think, I'll have my foot here, I'll have my foot there. No, foot is perfectly half and half. So your ball of your foot is on the nose, the rest of your foot is like on the bolts and below. And then what you do is you push your toe this way slightly. So like a 45-degree angle that way, and it makes the ball go like this. It's hard because I've got this foot in the way for this one, so I'm gonna move. There you go. Very difficult to do without actually doing it. So let me try that again. So foot in that position, other foot in the air out the way, and then just shift the weight on the nose. And then once you've got it, you'll probably have it better than me. Next up, we've got the Mongo Healy. A real low-key, low-risk one of my favorites as well. For this one, it's real simple. Your Mongo foot, which is your back foot, instead of like pushing Mongo like you would like this if you were regular, or like this if you were goofy, instead of pushing like that, we're gonna spin off it. So, we're gonna have that back foot, almost the exact opposite for the 1 foot shove it that I just showed you. Heel on the tail, so you've got just your heel, and then the rest of your foot is pretty much sitting on the board. This is so you can have the maneuverability like this. Then you step off with the front foot, have that foot in that position, and then twist your body and take it all the way around like this. And you can add the front foot back on halfway or above. And that is the Mongo Healy. Next, you've got the tornado spin, which is basically what me and my friends call a 360 body varial. Again, a body varial is just switching your stance like this, but we're going 360. The 360 body varial, literally just start with your legs and your shoulders in line, and then aim to land with them still in line, like just like that. A little 360 on the floor, and then once you've got it on the floor, do it on the board. Aim to land with your knees bent and generally with your feet over the bolts for maximum balance. Start slow at first and you should end up with something like this. That's the tornado.
Yeah.
Next, we've got our first no comply trick of the list, and that is the no comply finger flip. This one is technically a no comply 180 finger flip, but essentially looks like this. And it's actually a lot easier than it looks. Back foot in the center, because we're popping it into our hand. Just practice it like this off the board first of all, pop it into your hand, and then with the wrist, it's just to flick it towards you. Because remember, the board's doing 180 as well. So, try it like that, like this. And if you follow it with your back foot as well, so let's say do it in slow motion, step off, pop into hand, flip, step, and now you're in fakie. But if you're any good, unlike me, you should have something like that by the end of it. Next, we've got the Foamless hard flip, another great low risk, low stress one. To practice this one, we're gonna break it down super slow. The boneless at the end of the day is taking your front foot off, grabbing the board of your hand, like this. Now the hard flip, so what we're gonna do, this is the only hard bit of the trick by the way, so focus this. So, we grab the board of our hand and then we throw a hard flip. So like, the board does a flip and a 180. You can practice this as many times as you need to, but it's quite a natural thing. It feels quite natural when you throw it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And it works well when you stop, like that. Practice it super slow, step off, step back on, don't bother jumping until you know you can do the hand flip. And after a while, you'll be smashing them out like this. On to the next one. Right, trick number 10, the front shove body varial. We're gonna do this in fakie, first of all, because I think that's the easiest way to do it. So, riding backwards this time, we're gonna do a front shove, which is this, and we're also gonna turn our body, but we're gonna turn our body the opposite way and meet the board. So, actually way easier than it looks, like a lot of these, but you're gonna go and aim to meet the board, traveling the opposite direction. You're gonna do a bunch of 1 foot at first, like this, and just make sure that you are spinning the board correctly. And after a little while, you get your first even sketchier one. And now we're gonna do a clean one, no excuses. There we go. On to the next trick. Next, we've got the royal flip, also known as the disco flip and vice versa in a lot of places. It seems like regional places have different names, but kick flip body varial is essentially what we're doing. So same as the Ollie body varial, so simple as combining a kick flip with a body varial at the same time and try not to wheel bite. So this one is quite a common trick for newer skaters, and then once they learn it, when I say newer, I mean like first couple of years, and then when they learn it, they kind of like never do it again and then lose it. But I've recently been coming back to these kind of tricks and I've been loving them. So I'd highly recommend anyone experienced or beginner or whatever it may be to try stuff like this, regardless of what any other skater or someone may think or say about it. But if you can kick flip, then just switch your stance in mid-air, try and land like that. When you just like land next to it at first, don't fully commit. And then when you're feeling confident, like you know you can kick flip, you know you can body varial, make sure you emphasize your flick and try not to crash off the side of the ramp. On to the next one. So next up, another one of my favorite no complies of all time, the no comply impossible. This one is really, if you can do this right, so stop, if you can scoop the board round like this, so circular motion with the back foot, if you can do that, you can do this trick. And a tip for that, have your foot like this, almost in a tray flip position. Your toes are hanging off the edge, like there. Push down, and then scoop the tail in a circular motion. So, just like that. Now that you know the gist of things, essentially what you do is you step off with the front foot, do that with the back, and then jump back on halfway. So to break it down, step off, do the trick. Step back on. That's essentially the trick, but it should look like this all in one fluid motion. You ready? On to the next one. Next up, we've got the Ole North. Another great trick to pull out and skate, also known as the Ollie 1 foot. There's one key trick for this one that helped me kind of figure it out quite a lot more than most. And that is, instead of just like trying to kick the front foot straight off and doing stuff like that, you want to level out the board and like push it down with the front foot. So your front foot essentially pushes the board out of the way so it can come off the board fully. There's not much else to it other than that. My ones are still pretty weak, like my foot doesn't go off too far, but it's a great trick, and I'm gonna give you one God's honest college try right here for like a full extension. Thing is, it's hard to keep the board straight if you kick the front foot too much, but I would say this is a good mid-tier difficult trick that I still suck at. On to the next one. Next up, we've got the bubble flip. Now I'm going to teach you this one stationary because it's so much easier stationary and way harder moving. So it's like the bubble shove it from the first trick in this video, but instead of like just lightly scooping over like that, you kind of have to do like an aggressive flick, but essentially the same motion. So like, you just hit it a bit harder as it comes over. So this is my foot, right? Board comes onto the foot and then you go, and it goes like that. Practice it stationary because it's way harder moving, like I just said. Okay, this one's gonna take a lot of practice, but again, great to have in skate, but you do have to have it moving to do it in skate. Even if it's just 1 mile an hour, you can still use it in skate. And that is just standard bubble flip. Again, the slow-mos are gonna help you a lot with this one. It's a difficult trick though, so maybe practice it like a couple of times a day for a little while and get it over a period of time. It'll seem a lot more achievable like that. On to the next one. Right, now after that tough one, we've got a nice low-key, fairly easy one, and that is the SHT Rewind. A nice, user-friendly one. Basically, as long as you can do a little shove it and a revert, you can essentially do this trick. You just need to aim your front foot with the shove it. So if I'm popping from this side here, you're gonna aim your front foot to catch that side when it comes round. So watch, my front foot aims for where the nose will be and then immediately pulls it back. You can revert it, you can pivot it, either way. I still like it and it still counts. That's 15 flat ground tricks done so far. We're gonna do 5 mini ramp tricks, unique ones obviously as well, just to spice things up. And then we've got 5 more flat ground tricks afterwards that are a bit cooler than the rest. So let's get to the first mini ramp one. So the first mini ramp trick that I think isn't too difficult, but still super cool and unique, is the blunt pull-in. I've done a short tutorial on this, so check that out if you need like a bit more of a visual help. But this one, basically you come up, get into this, and then pull the board in. So a lot easier than a blunt pop-in, but essentially, as long as you can do this, then you're gonna be fine. Obviously aim to land a bit more over the bolt, so you're like this. But that is essentially all you need. Now just get them back wheels locked into the coping, pull it back in, and then crouch down to keep your center of gravity low, and boom. You can even jump off mid-air if it gets a bit sketchy like that. For some reason, because I was talking while riding up, it was like distracting me and I couldn't do it. So focus, let that be a lesson. Focus, land it. So this next one is called a staple gun. Essentially the board goes over, but you don't go with it. So you keep your front foot on the board, take it over like that, and then bring it back in. A lot easier than it looks. I know that's kind of sketchy. You could even start just by putting it halfway up and then bringing it back in, but just have the confidence to step back on as it comes back in. take it slow, bring it in like there, and then just step on it. But the real winner of this trick is when you have all 4 wheels over the coping, and you step back on straight away, and you can even do some sketchy 180s out onto the next trick. Next we're doing a window wiper, another tough one. I learned this from an Andy Anderson video. Basically you tap the truck once on one side, once on the other side, and then ride back down fakie. It takes a little while, so practice both individually, like hit one, then try it the other way, like. And then when you're feeling brave and got fast feet, you go. And even then it's hard to hit the coping sometimes. Like. The bigger the coping, the easier it will be, but next up we got the rock body varial, a nice easy low-key one. Literally just ride up with your front wheels over the coping, do your body varial, and then ride down facing forward. Probably one of the easiest to learn mini ramp tricks. You can do all kinds of variations like fakie, 180, or just normal. A great trick, really easy, just try it. If you can do any tricks in the mini ramp, that one will be quite easy for you. Just give it a go and see how you end up. Next up, we've got the tail stall, nose grab to switch rock. It's something I learned recently, but again, a real nice low-key trick. So basically what you do, come up fakie, hit a tail stall, don't drop back in. So hit your tail stall, take your foot off if you need to like refresh or whatever, then grab the nose and just jump back. So all you need to do is get this wheel over here. So you'll go way easier and less scary than you might think. And that is the nose grab rock. All right, 5 more tricks left. Now these are some of my personal favorite flat ground tricks, some that I've just recently learned as well, apart from maybe 1 or 2. But basically, the first one, double no comply. Now you know the normal no comply, like 180. You just step off, step on like that. But this one, we're gonna hit a second pop before we jump back on. So you go, and then when you get here, you immediately hit another, and then jump on. The double no comply, I call it. Like, that was a bit of a wacky version, but I think it looks good if you get it right. It weren't pretty, and it doesn't count in skate, but still better looking than your mum. Next up, we got the Primo Flip. Another one that might seem a bit sketchy, but was one of the first tricks I ever learned, so it can't be that bad, can it? This one, to get into Primo, we're gonna have one foot over the wheel well, so like here, right above the wheel. Other foot's gonna be at a straight angle, and you're gonna pull the board towards you with this one, like that, and at the same time, you step onto that. Pull this way with this foot, and step forward with this one. And you should get onto it like this. Now, this is the tough part. So if you don't want to bother with that part, don't worry, just jump straight on like this. Back foot, halfway between the tip of the tail and the wheel. Then basically what you do is you push down and use the pressure of the board to... So you put all your weight here, and it makes the board go like this. Kick flip in a half and a 180. I learned this way before I learned how to pop shove it, before I learned how to 180. One of the first tricks I ever learned. So, let's go. A bit sketchy, but Primo Flip, one of my personal favorite tricks. We need to get a t-shirt made that says one of my personal favorites. This next one is the twisted flip. So basically a varial kickflip body varial. It's a bit harder than a lot of the other ones on this list. And again, if you can do the kickflip body varial and you can do a varial flip, this one should be possible. But again, it's a tough one. So practice it a little bit every day if you want to get it. Don't just like send it, because you might get a bit bogged down with how hard it can be. But essentially, if I can land a good one, it'll look like this. Okay, sketchy enough, but I hate that trick so much, and off of wood that you're just gonna have to make do with the slow-mos on screen from the skate park, because popping these kind of tricks off concrete is a million times easier than popping them off soft wood. So twisted flip, get after it. So this next one was taught to me by a friend at the skate park the other day. This is the front shove revert. We've done the back shove revert in this video already, but this one actually seems to work a bit better, and I'd never tried it before the other day. So essentially we're doing a front shove, but we're gonna catch it and revert it back like that. Again, way easier than I thought it would be at first, but the wood is an excuse that I'm gonna keep using. Just aim to land on that nose as it comes round, and you should end up with something hopefully a bit cleaner than that. Like I said, slow-mos are on screen to show you what a more optimal version of the trick would look like. We've got one more left. Let's get into it. Final trick of this list, another one that I'm going to teach you stationary, and that is the kickback flip. Essentially what you do for this one, similar to the bubble flip, but instead of making it go 180, we just pull the board forward and then flip it straight so the board doesn't spin too. As long as you can pull the board back like this and then flip it like that, you've got the momentum for this trick. So foot in the middle of the board. And that is a sketchy kickback flip. I'll see you guys in the next video.